The 2016 film Rogue One opens with research scientist Galen Erso living in hiding with his family. The villainous Galactic Empire, led by Emperor Palpatine and his chief enforcer Darth Vader, sends weapons developer Orson Krennic to track down Galen to force him into completing the construction of the Death Star, a giant space station superweapon that was capable of destroying entire planets. Galen's resistance leads to a confrontation that results in the death of his wife. Galen is forced to leave with Krennic while his young daughter Jyn escapes and is rescued by a rebel extremist named Saw Gerrera. 15 years later, Jyn has been imprisoned by the Empire for her lifetime of crimes working for the Rebel Alliance. The rebels do eventually free Jyn from an Imperial labor camp and enlist her for an important mission. A cargo pilot named Bodhi Rook has defected from the Empire and delivered to Saw Gerrera a message from the still-alive Galen Erso. Jyn's mission is to rescue her father in the hopes that he could help the rebels destroy the Death Star. But first, she would have to travel to the planet Jedha to confront the rebel extremist who raised her, Saw Gerrera, to retrieve Bodhi. Accompanying Jyn on her mission is K2SO, a reprogrammed Imperial droid, and Cassian Andor, a rebel intelligence officer who has secretly been tasked with assassinating Galen. When Jyn, Cassian, and K2SO reach Jedha, they find the planet is in chaos, as Saw's army of insurgents are engaged in battle with the Empire, who are removing sacred kyber crystals from the planet's holy city to power the Death Star. Jyn's group meet the blind spiritual warrior Chirrut Îmwe and his mercenary friend Baze Malbus, who help them fight their way to Saw. Saw reveals that Galen's message confirmed that the Death Star had a massive vulnerability that the rebels could use to their advantage, and directs her to the Imperial planet Scarif to retrieve the Death Star schematics. Saw stays behind with his army as the others take Bodhi and flee Jedha. Meanwhile, Krennic orders the Death Star to destroy Jedha's capital, killing Saw and his men. Bodhi takes the group to the planet Eadu to rescue Galen, who was working in an Imperial research facility. Cassian decides to disobey his orders and spare Galen's life. Unfortunately, rebel bombers attack the Imperial base, mortally wounding Galen, who dies in his daughter's arms. Jyn's team escapes the planet on a stolen Imperial cargo ship. Jyn then devises a plan for the rebel fleet to steal the Death Star schematics from Scarif, but her plan is turned down, as the Alliance Council already feels that defeating the Empire was impossible. Undeterred, Jyn's team gathers a small group of rebels to head to Scarif to complete the plan themselves. Chirrut and Baze lead the rebels in a fight against the Imperial army as a distraction for Jyn, Cassian, and K2SO to sneak into the base. When the Alliance discovers that Jyn's team was going through with the plan on their own, the rebels reluctantly send in support. Chirrut and Baze are killed while activating a switch that would allow the ground forces to contact the rebel fleet in space. Bodhi is killed after alerting the rebel fleet that they would need to destroy Scarif's planetary shield in order to receive the transmission of the schematics. Rebel Admiral Raddus manages to destroy two of the Empire Star Destroyers, which crash into the shield's generators, deactivating the shield. Inside the base, K2SO sacrifices himself to give Jyn and Cassian time to retrieve the schematics. While racing to the base's antenna to transmit the schematics to the rebel fleet, Jyn and Cassian are confronted by Krennic. Cassian shoots and wounds Krennic as the Death Star enters the orbit above Scarif. Jyn successfully transmits the schematics to the rebel fleet as the Death Star fires a shot at the antenna. Krennic is killed instantly as the antenna is destroyed. Jyn and Cassian flee to the coast for a brief moment of peace to celebrate their victory before the explosion's blast reaches them, killing them both along with the remaining ground forces. Above Scarif, the victorious rebel fleet attempts to jump to hyperspace with the schematics when they are intercepted by Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, which destroys nearly the entire fleet. Darth Vader boards the rebel command ship and viciously slaughters its crew as he attempts to recover the Death Star schematics. Fortunately for the rebels, one starship manages to escape with the schematics. Aboard that starship is Princess Leia Organa, who declares that the schematics would provide hope for the Rebel Alliance. What will happen with Princess Leia and the Death Star? Well, you should watch Star Wars A New Hope to find out. And if you want to see more of Cassian Andor's missions with the Rebel Alliance before his death, then make sure to check out the new series Andor, streaming now on Disney+.